Say party pool, come on, say guys. All right, I like that. I think Brian trained you guys pretty well. All right, guys. So we're gonna do a roasted pork on croute is a finished product, okay? We're gonna start by using a pork butt or a top of the pork shoulder. It got the name pork butt actually from pre-revolutionary New England. They used to pack the not so great pieces of meat, like the high end of the pork shoulder, the ham, stuff like that, in these baskets or barrels that they called butts, and they got the name pork butt. So, but it's a pork shoulder, bone in. It's got the blade in, and that's what you'll use for, barbecues, restaurants will use it for pulled pork. It's one of those pieces of meat that will make the guy cooking it look really, really good, unless you're just terrible at cooking. Okay, so all right, so after we roast it, or after we magically TV roast it, we're gonna take the pulled meat and wrap it in phyllo dough, and we're gonna roast it in the oven. It's on our menu as the pork on croute, served with the sweet potato fritter. It's also, we put it in our jambalaya and in our paella at night, just to kind of give it some oomph. So we're gonna go ahead and get started, guys. All right, so we want to stuff it, we want to flavor it. The thing about roasts, any kind of roast, beef or pork, you have a really big piece of meat, okay? And whether it's a piece of meat like this or a filet mignon, you only get a chance to season the outside of it. So you want to take that into account when you are seasoning it. You want to put a nice crust on it, whether it's a filet or a roast. So we're going to crust it with seasoning, but first, we're going to stuff it with some jalapeno and some minced garlic. All right, so on the recipe, it has actually just fresh jalapenos, which is fine. We do some house pickled jalapenos, then I wanted to just use that just to kind of show you a different route to go besides the menu. And again, guys, when I develop these recipes for y'all, I wanted to do something that has no boundaries. There's a lot of different things you can use this for, which will be, one of the ways is what I'm going to show you guys. Another one is, barbecue pork sliders or a nice jambalaya. You put this in your jambalaya, it makes it that much better because you're getting all that oven roasted that takes, 4 to 5 hours in your jambalaya, and it's going to taste that. It'll bring out a lot of flavor. All right, so we just want to quarter the jalapenos. We want to leave the seeds in. And the garlic is just minced. It wouldn't hurt to put the whole, if you just quarter the cloves of garlic, it wouldn't hurt to put that in there. I mean, they'll cook through. I just like to mince it because it'll crust with the seasoning on the outside also. So we're gonna do the meat side. All we're gonna do is make a cross, and you wanna open it up with your finger. And we're just gonna do that sporadically around the meat. So guys, beef roast, venison roast, pork roast, it's up to you to put a good product on that table, guys, and it's really easy. All right, so the shoulder blade is in there, which obviously helps with the roasting and adds some flavor, but it's right here on this side, so we can really just stuff this side. But we'll open up the holes and we'll just stuff the jalapeno in there. And guys, as always, if you have any questions, just raise your hand, okay? All right. So what I do with the garlic is I just put it on top and let it kind of find the holes. On the recipe, I'm not sure what the amount was that I put on there, but you really can't have too much jalapeno or garlic. We're gonna cook, and really we can't, but we're gonna cook this thing for like 5 hours. So all that spice and all the bitterness of the garlic will just kind of neutralize itself, because when you cook spices for a long period of time, they lose the capsaicin, the actual hot part of it. So, and it'll just lend its flavor. This is going to drive me crazy not having my sink to wash my hands after each of these steps, but I think I brought enough towels back here. All right, so I'm just violently getting it everywhere I possibly can in this pork, okay, guys? I'm tenderizing it as I'm doing this. All right, so we have the jalapeno and the minced garlic. Let's rub a little bit more on there. All right, guys, and we want to crust it every inch of the outside. This is our Creole seasoning, which we use in-house, which that recipe is on the back of y'all's recipe cards. That seasoning is really good for pretty much anything you want to cook, guys. So that's a really good thing to have in your kitchen. Just make a big batch of it and put it in the container. Yeah, oh yeah, it'll keep pretty much forever. I think I've said this before, but our black pepper, we use a coffee grinder, and we grind our black pepper daily, and it makes a huge, huge difference, guys. If you have a coffee grinder for your coffee beans, do not use it for the black pepper also. You might want to get a separate one. And with the fat, you don't really need to do anything to it. After it roasts, we do take this fat cap off, but we're careful. We pick through it to make sure we get all the meat in there, because there is a little bit of meat in there. And just for yield purposes, we don't want to lose any of it. And an important step in roasting it is we roast it with a fat cap on the top. And basically what that does is it bastes itself. You know, when you're doing a turkey and you get some of the fat and the juice and you pour it on top, well, having the fat on top, as it roasts, this fat will render, the liquid fat will come out, and it'll just baste itself. So it's keeping it juicy. This method of roasting this is really good for anything too. The way we're going to do it is pretty foolproof in terms of you're going to get a really good product out of it. So, you know, beef, turkey, anything. I mean, you could put a turkey breast, do the same way, and it'll be really, really good. All right, so that is prepped, ready to go. Any questions so far? Pretty straightforward, right?
Salt, right?
Yeah, kosher salt. All right, so foil, y'all might want to make a notation for heavy duty foil, guys, because you want to retain all this liquid that's going to be, because basically, you know, if you're doing a barbecue shrimp or a stock, we're going to have this roast in here with this liquid and some brown sugar. We're going to crimp the edges, keep it concealed, and roast for about 4 or 5 hours, depending on your oven. And that liquid in there, when it's done, you'll have, it's ridiculous. It's really, really good, because you're basically making a pork stock with this liquid and also that bone in there and all the fat. It just makes a really, really good stock, so you don't want to lose that. So, fat side up. When I say crimp the corners, where the two meet, just kind of pinch it like that. How about it, guys? Like that? Y'all get that? Okay. All right, again, guys, turkey breast, whole turkey, really anything, brisket. This is really how we do brisket in Louisiana, the same way. Our brisket in Louisiana is really, really juicy. It's not really smoked. We do smoke some meats, but a lot of times there's a braising method somewhere in it, because we just like stuff to really fall off the bone. All right, so I'm going to put the brown sugar on top. Can y'all see that, guys? I put that brown sugar on top first. So when I put the Worcestershire and teriyaki on there, it goes to the bottom and mixes really well. Has anybody ever had our pork on croute on the menu? Yes. Yeah? Okay, well this is how we do it. I like doing a little bit more Worcestershire than teriyaki. Teriyaki has a little bit more sugar content, and we put that brown sugar in there, so we don't want to make it too sweet. All right, guys, so at this point, we just want to seal it up as much as we can. I guess I did a good job. It's not leaking all over this white tablecloth. What's that?
Does it matter if you use light brown sugar?
No, not really. Not in this process. If you're doing a banana Foster's or something like that, desserts more so, it would make a difference, but not with this. All right.
You haven't marinated or aged the pork just like it comes.
Just like it comes.
And what size roast is this?
It's probably about a 4 or 5 pound. They'll probably be a little bit smaller at Publix, but it's pretty foolproof when you're cooking it, because really what you have to do is kind of stick a knife and move it this way or that way, and that meat should just kind of come apart. Another way to tell is that bone's going to kind of protrude out a little bit when it cooks, and you can pretty much pull that bone right out of it if it's ready. It's really hard to overcook. It's possible, but it's hard. All right, guys. So that goes in the oven just like that. What I say, 400 degrees? Is that what it says?
400.
Yeah. 400 degrees. I put, I think, 4 to 5 hours. It really depends on your oven. You can also put it at, 300 degrees and put it in there for about 8 hours. You know what I mean? This method, you're going to get pretty much the same product, in terms of the slow and low, because we're cheating by, concealing it. It's going to steam itself. It's going to braise itself. Another thing you can do, if you do like that smokiness, you can add a little touch of liquid smoke to that. You know what I mean? And I promise you it would rival any smoked pork butt you ever try. So, all right, guys. So that goes in the oven. All right, guys. So this one was pretty basic. We're going to do another step after this, but we basically put that in the oven for 400 degrees until just kind of forget about it for a while. Watch the Saints beat up the Falcons for a while. Come back after that. I'm joking. No, I'm not, but I'm joking. All right, so after we've roasted it, we are going to take it off the bone. We're going to take that fat cap off, okay, guys? I wasn't going to do it in front of y'all, but it is kind of messy. So we take that fat cap off, kind of pick through it, make sure there's no meat in there, and if there is, we want to use that. What we're going to do, which is on the menu, is the pork on croute, okay? We're going to use phyllo dough. Phyllo is kind of a pain in the butt to work with, but it is possible to mess with. So you probably will be getting it at Publix or Whole Foods or something like that, and it'll be a pack that's rolled, like a little rectangle pack that's rolled. It's really dry. You want to keep a damp napkin, not very damp at all, but just a touch damp napkin on it, and it keeps the phyllo moist, because this is basically pre-layered for us with butter. But what you're going to do, you're going to take a couple sheets of phyllo, brush it with butter, put another sheet on top of it, brush it with butter, okay? After you do that, we just cut a little piece, and it doesn't matter on the size. You can make it as big or as small as you want. We're just going to rub some butter right in the middle, because there's just not enough fat in that pork, right? A little bit of our Creole seasoning. And I wanted to mention also, you can use puff pastry for this too. If puff pastry is 10 times easier to work with, and I'm sure everybody's had puff pastry, it tastes just as good, if not better. But this is nice, and we use this because it gets really, really crispy. And it works really good for this, but puff pastry would work also. And it's a little bit easier to work with. So we put some pork right in the middle.
This is what you've cooked?
This is what you guys are going to taste, and this is what that turns out to be. And the reason why it looks like this, we chop it up. And also, I missed something I want to tell you guys. That liquid that I talked about, we take the meat out of the foil once it's done, let it chill. The liquid that's in the foil, we pour it into a container, and we put it in your refrigerator. And what happens is the fat will rise to the top. once it's done that, you take it out and you take the fat off the top, and then you use the bottom part. Chop up the meat, put all that flavor and sauce back into the meat, and it looks like this. So it's nice and juicy. I mean, there's so many different methods for this, so many different things you can use, and that pork butt is probably like $1.30 a pound, you know what I mean? And you can make it taste remarkable. So again, you're gonna reserve that liquid and just let it cool in the cooler. That fat will come to the top. If you let it sit overnight, the fat will solidify and you can just peel it right off. So chop up the meat, put the liquid in there, and then that's the state we're at right now. The phyllo, butter, a little Creole seasoning. You basically want to fold it up. And it stinks because I make this look so easy, and it's really not. But see, look, you can see what it does. Okay, and then we butter that. And the thing about phyllo, if it does start breaking like that,
Hatch it up.
okay? I mean, guys, because all this is, phyllo is basically croissant dough, really. That's savory. All right, guys, we pop that in the oven, 350. Put a little bit of butter on top, pop it in the oven, 350 degrees until the outside browns, and then serve it, guys. So many different methods and so many things you can serve it with. I think on there I put coleslaw, just kind of sticking with the barbecue theme. We serve it with a cheddar sweet potato fritter. But like I said, so many different things. I'm going to serve it to you guys tonight with just a touch of roasted sweet potato mash, just so we'll have that nice salty and sweet combo.
How will the finished product change?
You talking like pie dough? If you would do the pie dough, what I would probably do is put it in a ramekin or like a bowl and just top it with pastry dough and bake it off like that to almost like a shepherd's pie. In fact, you can put a little bit of sweet potato, a layer of sweet potato mash at the bottom of that. Be really, really good too. So, well, I will go back there and we're gonna cook a portion of this for all of you guys and see what you think. Okay? Thank y'all. All right, guys, what did y'all think? That good, right? That good. Awesome. I appreciate it. Well, guys, thank y'all so much for coming this evening. I had a lot of fun. And as always, at Gabe's Downtown, fat equals flavor. Thank you.